What you are about to see is not a flatfish. It has never been a flatfish. What you are looking at is a single animal gliding across the ocean floor wearing a disguise so perfect that every predator within range is completely fooled. Not because it looks similar, because it is identical. The shape, the color, the movement, all of it, flawless. And the flatfish is only the beginning. This animal has been documented on camera, in the wild, impersonating 15 completely different species, on demand, in real time, switching identities mid-encounter when one disguise stops working. Its name is the mimic octopus, the most sophisticated impersonator ever recorded in the natural world. Before this video ends, you will see all 15 identities, and you will reach identity number 11, the one that divided the scientific community, the one that suggests this animal is not just copying shapes, it may be simulating the minds of other creatures. Pay attention, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it. To understand how deep this goes, you first need to know what this creature actually is. Its scientific name is Thaumoctopus mimicus, roughly the size of a pencil, no shell, no skeleton, no armor. Its body is almost entirely soft tissue, exposed and vulnerable in every direction. It lives in the shallow tropical waters of the Indo-Pacific, in environments dense with predators, and it lives for approximately 1 year. That is its entire existence. Here is the detail that should stop you completely. This animal was not classified by science until 1998. Not because it lives in inaccessible depths. It lives in shallow water in areas divers have explored for decades. It was hiding in plain sight for the entire history of marine biology. Every scientist, every diver who passed over those ocean floors before 1998 looked directly at it and saw something else entirely. Because that is exactly what it wanted. It was identified only because 2 underwater filmmakers captured footage of it doing something no known octopus had ever been recorded doing. Not hiding, not blending into the background, actively, physically transforming itself into another animal entirely. 26 years ago, that is how recently we discovered that something like this existed. Which raises the question that drives everything else. How does an animal with no weapons, no armor, and a lifespan of 1 year survive in one of the most predator-dense environments on the planet? It does not survive as itself. It survives by becoming everything else. But to understand how, you need to understand a type of mimicry that science had never seen before. Mimicry in nature is not new. A harmless hoverfly wears the stripes of a wasp. A king snake copies the bands of the coral snake. These strategies share one thing. The disguise is fixed, static. The hoverfly cannot stop being a wasp. The mimic octopus does something researchers had to give its own classification: dynamic mimicry. It rebuilds itself from scratch, in seconds, every single time. Its skin contains approximately 10 million chromatophores, pigment cells that fire in coordinated waves faster than the human eye can track. Beneath them, iridophores that refract light to create structural color, and papillae, muscular projections that transform its texture from completely smooth to spiked within milliseconds. It does not just change color, it changes color, texture, pattern, and three-dimensional shape simultaneously. And then the most extraordinary part. 2/3 of an octopus's neurons are not in its brain. They are distributed through its 8 arms. Each arm processes information semi-independently. When the mimic octopus constructs a disguise, its arms are not obeying a central command. They are participating in the decision themselves. The impersonation is collaborative, built from multiple points at once. No computer animation system in existence can replicate what this animal does biologically in under 3 seconds. Now that you understand the machinery, it is time to meet the 15 identities. Identity 1, the flatfish, the most common disguise. All 8 arms folded beneath the body, mantle flattened into a disc, edges undulating in the precise wave pattern of a flatfish cruising the sand, used simply to travel without being noticed. Identity 2, the lionfish. When a large predator approaches head-on, all 8 arms spread outward, rigid and radial, becoming venomous spines. The body becomes the toxic, untouchable silhouette of one of the most feared fish on the reef. Identity 3, the banded sea crate, a highly venomous sea snake that every reef predator instinctively avoids. When threatened from the side, the octopus retreats into a burrow, conceals 6 arms underground, and extends the remaining 2 in opposite directions, banded black and white. From any angle, what is visible is the head and tail of a sea snake at its burrow entrance. The octopus has hidden most of itself on purpose to become something more convincing than its whole body could achieve. Scientists still debate this one. It requires the animal to understand which parts of itself to hide and which to display based on the specific threat in front of it. Identity 4, the soulfish, a species-specific variation of the flatfish disguise, with fin edge rippling that matches the soul exactly, not approximately, exactly. Identity 5, the jawfish. The octopus hovers vertically in the water column with a subtle bobbing motion, replicating the posture of a jawfish above its burrow. Used not to deter predators, but to approach prey without triggering their escape response. Identity 6, the crinoid. Arms spread in a loose multi-directional fan, drifting passively with the current, invisible in plain sight. Identity 7, the mantis shrimp, one of the most aggressive invertebrates of the ocean. The octopus mimics its coloration and defensive posture to deter other aggressive invertebrates. Identity 8, the sand anemone. Arms extended in a circular petal arrangement, body contracted into a column, stationary, unremarkable, a piece of reef furniture that nothing touches. Identity 9, the coral formation. Full texture and color shift to match the specific coral physically present around it at that moment. Identity 10, the stingray. Body completely flattened, arm edges curled downward into a disc, gliding across the sand with the slow, undulating motion of a ray, 2 arms trailing behind as a tail. Identity 11. This is the one. In multiple documented encounters, the octopus has been filmed producing erratic, asymmetric, unpredictable movement that corresponds to no specific species. It produces this display not when facing a stationary predator, it produces it mid-chase. The leading hypothesis is deeply uncomfortable. The octopus may be simulating injury or disorientation, not to impersonate a dangerous animal, but to make its own next movement impossible to predict. It is not saying, "I am dangerous." It is saying, "I am broken and I cannot be anticipated." A predator that cannot predict the next movement of its prey hesitates, and hesitation at that scale is survival. That is not physical mimicry. That is deception aimed directly at the decision-making process of another animal's brain. Identities 12 through 15, the garden eel, the tube worm, the open water sea snake, and one final identity still contested in current scientific literature, not yet officially confirmed, suggesting the repertoire may still be growing. The story is not finished. The list may not be complete. No other animal on this planet has been documented doing this across this many species. Not dolphins, not crows, not any primate ever studied. Which brings us to the question that changes everything. Does the mimic octopus know what it is doing? The conservative position, hardwired triggers. Specific threat activates specific response. No conscious choice, just extraordinarily refined instinct. This would be convincing if the footage stopped there. It does not. Multiple filmed encounters show the octopus switching identities mid-encounter. A predator changes its angle of approach. The octopus dissolves one disguise and constructs a different one within seconds. That is not a triggered response. That is assessment, interruption, and substitution. That is a decision. And then there is this. The mimic octopus lives for 1 year. It hatches alone, no parent, no teacher, no older animal to observe. Within months, it has mastered 15 species-specific impersonations precise enough to deceive animals that evolved over millions of years to detect exactly the threats it is pretending to be. A predator that spent millions of years learning to recognize a lionfish is being fooled by an animal that has been alive for 4 months. Researchers have begun using one word, carefully, cautiously, in peer-reviewed papers about this animal. Not reflex, not instinct, cognition. If that word applies here, then what we are looking at is intelligence that evolved through an entirely different biological path from every form of intelligence we have ever studied. It arrived at problem solving independently, alone, with a brain the size of a walnut, inside a body that will be dead in a year. The mimic octopus was discovered in 1998 in shallow water in areas we thought we knew. The ocean covers 71% of this planet. Less than 20% has been meaningfully explored. This animal lived undiscovered inside the part we thought we had already seen. Somewhere right now, in water we have already crossed, something is performing, transforming, surviving through abilities we have no framework to describe, waiting for someone to look at exactly the right moment. We named this one the mimic octopus because we finally saw through the disguise. But the disguise worked for the entirety of recorded human history before that. If this video has changed your perspective on intelligence and the vastness of what this world still holds unknown, then you already know what you need to do. This channel is dedicated to uncovering stories that go off the beaten path. Like, share, and subscribe. The ocean keeps its secrets well, but not forever.